All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Have you ever wondered what it actually takes to build a corporate ethics program that really works? I mean, something structured and measurable. Well, today we're moving way past that vague idea of just doing the right thing. We're going to look at the actual frameworks, the specific requirements, and the audits you need to build a truly ethical corporate culture from the ground up. To kick things off, ask yourself this kind of fascinating question. Are you a bad apple, or are you just floating in a bad barrel? You know, we usually think of corporate scandals as the work of isolated bad apples, rogue individuals just acting selfishly. But it turns out, more often than not, the organization itself has become a bad barrel. This happens when the intense pressure to succeed creates a toxic culture, one that actually rewards unethical choices. Plucking out a bad apple? Sure, that's simple enough. But fixing a bad barrel? That requires a total overhaul of a company's culture and image. And hey, we can't just rely on our gut feelings here. Intuition simply isn't enough to stay compliant in today's business world. Just think about this staggering number for a second. There are roughly 10,000 laws and regulations associated with just processing and selling a single hamburger. 10,000. I mean, unless you're a lawyer specializing in burger law, it's virtually impossible to know every detail. And that right there is exactly why formal ethics programs are absolutely crucial to help employees spot those legal and ethical blind spots.
So, to tackle all this complexity, here's our blue punt for today. We're going to cover the need for ethics, foundation, codes and officers, training and enforcement, the ethics audit, and finally, measuring integrity.
Starting with Section 1, the need for ethics.
A pretty harsh reality of that bad barrel concept we just talked about is the Fifth Third Bank scandal. Look at how unattainable sales goals can breed a toxic environment. The bank faced intense scrutiny because management pushed these wildly ambitious, virtually impossible targets, which literally caused employees to fraudulently open fake accounts just to keep up. When people don't have a fair, realistic way to achieve what's demanded of them, they might cross the line just to survive. A solid ethics program actively monitors high-pressure subcultures, like sales departments, catching these deviations way before they blow up and hurt customers.
Moving on to Section 2, Foundation, Codes, and Officers. Okay, so the most crucial point at the base of your foundation is figuring out your core control system. Basically, does your company rely on a rules-heavy compliance orientation or a culture-driven values orientation? A compliance orientation creates order by drilling down on specific legal terms, required conduct, and the strict penalties if you mess up. A values orientation, on the other hand, strives to develop shared abstract ideals. Think fairness, compassion, and respect. Research shows you absolutely need both, but your values, those are the true foundation. They act like a compass for your team when they hit those inevitable gray areas where no specific rules exist.
Now, to build out the compliance side of things, companies lean heavily on the Federal Sentencing Guidelines for Organizations, or the FSGO. The FSGO basically operates on a carrot and stick philosophy. If a company works proactively to prevent misconduct, they get the carrot. They avoid the most severe penalties. But the stick? That's massive fines or even organizational probation. So it sets out these exact minimum requirements to prove an organization is actually trying to maintain a compliant culture.
If we distill those guidelines down, the absolutely critical takeaways for your blueprint are that companies have to establish clear standards, mandate top management and board oversight, ensure risky individuals are kept out of key positions, and continuously communicate, audit, and enforce their policies. Basically, a program built proactively during peacetime is always going to be way more effective than one you scramble to throw together after a massive scandal hits.
All right, Section 3, Training and Enforcement.
Listen, an ethical blueprint is completely useless if it just sits in a dusty filing cabinet. You need active training and shared values to empower employees to act swiftly. A great example? Look at how Procter & Gamble handled that crazy viral Tide Pod challenge. Because P&G is known as a good corporate citizen with strong ethical principles, they didn't just ignore it. They took immediate ownership. They issued warnings, partnered with influencers like Rob Gronkowski to push safety messages, and worked directly with social platforms to yank the dangerous videos down. Their training and values dictated a rapid, proactive response. But hey, training alone isn't enough. You need real enforcement mechanisms. To maintain these high standards, organizations have to use accessible systems, like 24/7 anonymous hotlines. These act as a vital safety net to catch misconduct early. And even more importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, companies must guarantee absolute protection from retaliation. Fear of backlash is literally one of the top reasons people stay quiet about bad behavior.
Enforcement also means consistent discipline when rules are broken, and on the flip side, publicly recognizing and rewarding folks who model excellent ethical behavior. On to Section 4, the ethics audit.
Okay, so the structure is built, but how do we actually know it's structurally sound? Well, we inspect it using this multi-step auditing framework. Think of an ethics audit as a systematic evaluation of a company's ethics program. The process takes you from securing top management commitment, which, by the way, is a total must-have, all the way to independently verifying the data and reporting back to the board. It forces a company to look in the mirror, survey its stakeholders, and objectively measure if its actions truly match its words.
Now, formal audits are definitely vital, but informal check-ins, they're just as crucial for continuous improvement. Managers should be constantly assessing the vibe. Do employees actually know the conduct codes? Do they even know how to find the hotline? Do they genuinely believe leadership cares about an ethical culture? Just identifying a hidden fear of retaliation during a casual, informal chat can literally save a company from a massive compliance disaster down the road.
And finally, Section 5, measuring integrity.
To wrap things up, let's zoom out to the macro level. How do companies prove their ethical worth to the outside world? One really powerful tool is the triple bottom line. This framework forces businesses to look way past traditional accounting and strict profit margins. It insists that you evaluate your impact based on 3 Ps: profit, people, and planet. It asks the hard questions. Are we paying fair wages? Are we giving back to the community? And what is our impact on the natural environment?
While the triple bottom line is pretty broad, investors love to rely on ESG metrics. That stands for environmental, social, and governance. ESG gives companies a lens to evaluate their priorities compared to their peers. Stock analysts heavily use this as a risk management tool to avoid dumping money into companies that might be prone to corruption or scandals. Essentially, it quantifies an organization's holistic ethical priorities in a way the market understands. But what about on a global scale? That's where standards like ISO 19600 step in. These international guidelines ensure compliance is actively managed across totally different regulatory environments. It's a principles-based approach focusing on commitment, implementation, and continual improvement. It is a total game changer for multinational businesses, helping them adapt to the wildly shifting rules of different countries.
When you look at all these distinct measurement frameworks together, the balanced scorecard, the triple bottom line, ESG, ISO 19600, they might track different specific metrics, but they absolutely share one overarching goal. They give management, investors, and stakeholders a panoramic, comprehensive view of organizational integrity. They prove that an ethics program isn't just corporate window dressing. It is a functioning, measurable reality. I want to leave you with this really provocative statistic from the Edelman Trust Barometer. 75% of employees indicate that their employer is their most trusted institution. That actually ranks higher than NGOs, businesses in general, government, and the media. So ask yourself, does your organization's ethical blueprint, its codes, its training, its audits, truly make it worthy of being your most trusted institution? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep building that culture of integrity.